Disclaimer. The following intro should not serve as medical advice or treatment. If you're having issues physically or mentally, please consult a licensed medical practitioner. This is intended to be informational and only to start the dialogue.
Oh, holy shit. Why am I feeling so unmotivated?
Your product is trash. And when everyone is better, what's the point?
You'll never amount to anything if you haven't done it by now.
You're fucking terrible. Your quality is crap, and every little mistake will make you fail.
Did this guy even read the instructions? We were looking for guys that are at least under the age of 50.
You're
50?
terrible.
Have you seen his hat? It's Gandalf's hat. It just symbolizes how old he is.
Are you an AI? No, prove it.
Oh, okay. I'll deal with this later.
Hey, it's procrastination time.
Even if I feel like a fraud, I need to get in there and record something.
Do you honestly think that you're actually worthy of doing this?
You sound awful. Like, this is worse than I thought it was gonna be.
Nothing you do will ever be good enough. You honestly think this is good? Please. A child could do better than this.
No one is going to like your finished product. Nobody wants to hear your voice. You're a fucking failure.
Terrible. Oh, that's
He's so old. He's so moody. Now I know where he got his name.
You want to hear the truth without using moody.
That's just pathetic.
The truth is, even if you did put all that effort in and hard work, even if you did get that big breakthrough and you got everything you ever wanted, no one will even hear about it because nobody except for you will ever care.
You're right. You're right.
Hi, hey, hello. First off, stop it. You don't need to listen to that.
Wait, what? Who are you?
Well, let's call me the voice of reason.
So, essentially, I've completely fucking lost it, right?
No. I'm the little voice in your head that most creators, actors, strictly between you and me, really, anybody, suppresses.
Why would we do that?
Well, mostly because you are afraid of failing.
I mean, you're not wrong there.
What you're feeling right now could be burnout, could be stress, or could even possibly be imposter syndrome.
So, what is imposter syndrome?
Essentially, it's you thinking you're not good enough to do what you want to do.
Well, I mean, considering all the feedback I've been getting, aren't they right?
Self-doubt is a big characteristic of imposter syndrome, as well as not giving yourself enough credit, fearing you won't live up to expectations, even going as far as sabotaging your own success. Let's take those voices in your head. They're of people you work with, people you admire, yeah? But you, air quotes, secretly fear failure so much that you've convinced yourself that that's what they're saying about you.
I mean, I know they wouldn't say it to my face, but really, they're just being very nice.
If you keep on the current path, this road could lead to worsening anxiety and eventually depression. But it's good that you're talking about it, even if it is to yourself.
Score 1 for my sanity rating.
Ask yourself this. Do you painstakingly agonize over every little flaw? Any success you have, do you think that you were just lucky or you achieved that by some other factor? Are you very sensitive to criticism?
I mean, who isn't?
Do you feel like you'll be outed as a phony who has no expertise even in areas you genuinely have talent for?
I do now.
Figuring out what type of fear you're having might help you. A few types of imposter syndrome that have been identified are the perfectionist. You're never satisfied with the end product, you always see room for improvement. Instead of seeing where you're really good at, you tend to focus on your flaws. The superhero. Because you feel inadequate, you feel compelled to push yourself to work as hard as possible. The expert. You are constantly trying to learn more and you're never satisfied with how much you know. Even if you're very skilled, you'll still underestimate your expertise. The natural genius. You set super high ambitious goals, but you're crushed when you fail on your first try. The soloist. You are the lone wolf. You only truly feel good when you're being productive and you won't take help from no one. You see asking for help as a weakness.
Wow. I think I fit a couple of those.
Yeah. Well, I know that you already have changed your frame of mind when it comes to not getting a part. You see it as understanding that while your work may have been good, great even, it was not what the director was looking for in that moment.
Yeah, it does help. I mean, I no longer feel like I could have done better, and it helps me to realize that it was not a good fit. That did help me get through some of my hurdles.
Good. See, reframing some of your point of view can help with some of the negativity. Also, finding the passion for what you want to do will keep you going.
Okay, so what else can I do?
I mean, you can always talk to people about your feelings. It's okay to share, and you might find an unexpected ally. What else? Set realistic goals.
So being signed up in an agency in a AAA game by the end of summer isn't realistic?
I am so glad you asked. Let me just consult with management real quick. Hey! Is being signed by an agency and being a part of a AAA game all within the next 4 months a realistic goal? Does that qualify? No! Okay, thanks. Yeah, it's gonna be a no from me, Chief. Question those voices that you're hearing. I mean, can you really, truly be a fraud with all the experience you've amassed?
Huh, you're right.
Oh, this one's real important. Beware social media. Remember, people only project what they want you to see. People aren't as perfect as you may think, believe me. Don't let it hold you back. Just put stuff out. Try. It is okay if you don't get it, and newsflash, it's even okay if you fail. Finally, most importantly, help others.
Like producing a podcast to help people who are starting out? Or even that may be feeling what I do?
Exactly. Like that Cold Read podcast recorded every Sunday at noon at twitch.tv/Zamoody.
Thanks for the plug.
Anytime, bud.
Coming in from all over the world. 4 people looking to break into the voice industry. Come together to record a podcast. This is Cold Read, a podcast by voice actors for voice actors. A show to talk about topics they've conquered and experiences they've had. But by them sharing their stories with each other, they hope you, the listener, will be more prepared to start your journey in voice acting. With your hosts, Renara Hawke.
Rest of that sentence went somewhere.
Run away from you.
Marking this for next intro for me.
PrincessPashley.
Now, I kindly request that you shut the fuck up.
Eldurrino.
That was metal. I knew I chose you for cock breath for a reason.
May I continue?
And Zamoody.
If you are in fact making this with your voice, can you please provide me more emotion to the words? Like in your character reel, that was amazing and full of emotion. What happened here? Please.
And now, let's roll tape.
Well, there it is. Let me turn this down.
Jesus.
Wow.
My heart broke when you said you're right, and I was like, no, I feel so bad.
Well, and the reason, you know, first off, as I've mentioned before, and I've been going through this one in particular, this is actually thoughts that have crossed through my head, or even some that you guys have thrown in. So thank you so much. Big shout out to Rocks in My Dryer, who provided the and this is apparently his debut when it comes to voice acting. So thank you so much for providing a great voice for the intro. If you're still around, thank you so much. But yeah, welcome everybody. This is Cold Read the Podcast. Whether you're here live, you're watching us on YouTube, listening to us wherever you get your podcasts, welcome. If you have an idea for a topic or anything that you'd like us to discuss, or even an audition that you want us to listen to, please email us, coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com. Now, as we do every particular week, I want to check in with everybody. So, Renora, how has your week been on the other side of the world?
It's actually been okay, I think, after my whole having to take a few weeks off because burnout and horrendous stuff and everything that happened. I've slowly managed to sort of get back into like editing The Assassin in the Desert, which is the chapter 2's nearly there. I just got like about 1/3 left of that. Still waiting on my Odyssey of the Dragonborn stuff. Skywind, yeah, as I said, I've got more lines for that sort of thing. Slowly but surely just getting back into the swing of it, really. And it's interesting that your intro was about imposter syndrome, because a couple of my voice actors on my project were suffering from that badly and were asking me, oh God, I feel like I've let you down, or I feel this and that, and I helped at least try to make them feel, I think, a little bit better in that they haven't disappointed me. They're doing really well, sort of thing. So, yeah, doing all right, doing okay.
I'm glad to hear it. And it's good to know, hopefully, that you maybe point them in our direction now that you've heard this particular thing. I wanted to keep that out there for that, but we'll talk about when we get to the topic. Yeah. Ashley.
Oh man, week? It's been a week. It's been a week. Well, I meto the big thing that happened was I threw my back out doing something innocuous like folding laundry, because why not? And so I had to get heavily medicated this week so I could at least walk. Big ups to my boyfriend for driving my ass around everywhere. And he also like drove my kid to school like at 7:30 in the morning. So good facility. That's a keeper. Yeah. But then the really terrific news was though, I'm gonna be in a new job soon. I have a full-time position.
Yay!
And nice. I'm sweating bullets about quitting. Zamoody actually recommended I have Renara record it for me with the disarming British accent saying pound sand.
Yes.
Hey, if you need my help, I'll be happy. I will lend my voice.
No, I felt bad because I had planned on being with this NPO a little longer than ended up working out, but there was just some things about the leadership that are very inconsistent and very toxic, and I'm like, plus, there's also the clock is ticking with support and stuff like that, and I need to get up and on my feet. And this, they were really funny. They're like, "Okay, you have the job," and it's almost like it makes me worry a little bit, but we'll see. But it's they work with trafficking, and they're working with like at the policy level and at the hands-on level, like working with these women and children too. So it's a very
sounds good.
Worthy cause. So.
Yeah.
Hey, and I get benefits. Woo!
Woo! Benefits. Well,
TLDR.
No, yeah. Go ahead. Oh,
no,
yeah.
That was it. That was
Your
it.
TLDRs, you get benefits. Gotcha. Well, I mean, it sounds like it's going to be fulfilling work. So very happy for you in comparison
Thank
to
you.
I know you've been struggling with what you got right now. So super glad to hear it.
You got this, Pash. You got
Thank
this.
You. Thank you.
How about you, Eldurrino? How was your week?
I was doing okay at the start of this podcast, but now after hearing that intro, I am fully depressed. No, that just it that kind of thing hits very close to home, and I knew that going into this, and yet I was still like, too real. No, this week has been okay. I am very tired. The past like 3 to 4 days have just been nonstop. So I was trying to get Zamoody recommended me to be part of this anime dub project, which I was excited to do because it's something new that I've never done before. Very excited to try it out, see if it would be a good fit for me. And lo and behold, I was quite enjoying it. So I was trying to get the rest of the lines I needed done at the beginning of this week, but every time it came time to record, stuff would happen, like my housemate doing laundry or something like that at almost midnight. And so I couldn't get my stuff done. So that was very frustrating to deal with. And then I finally got it done Wednesday, and then I listened back to it like Thursday, and there was still background noise, so I had to go back and re-record it. So that was kind of annoying. And also that day I had to move a bunch of stuff out of a room upstairs in order to get prepared for someone to come and do the flooring. So that was very physically exhausting. Friday came around. Usually Friday is very slow for me. It was the exact opposite. It was super busy, having to deal with calls from work, calls from the landlord asking how everything's going with the flooring, having to deal with the contractors at the same time. Yes, overall, the past few days have been very, very exhausting, and I am very excited to take a nap after this podcast.
You deserve it. You deserve it after your hard work.
Yeah. Well, I am sorry to hear that you had a physical and mental hard week, but I'm glad that you're on the other side. I'm glad you're going to get to take a nap. So thanks for being here.
Yeah.
So as far as for me, I honestly, I have not really been inside of the booth. I'm still negotiating with the voices.com guys. Hopefully they will give me the green light to start recording, because that is like 2,000 lines that they want in 5 days. So,
oh wow,
yeah, that'll be
Wow.
interesting once I get the green light. I've got more news on my surgery. I have kind of an idea of how long I'm going to be out now, thanks to it. So that's going to happen still on the 2nd, so about a week and a half away. Somebody reached out for a project for me to work on, which was surprising. So I've got a couple of them that I started. So one that I started, like the first thing I ever got, just released like 2 days ago. It's called Midnight Poppy something. It's an actual web comment, and I'll link it at the end. So I got to play it. That was like my first ever cast part, my first like read through. So it's very interesting to go back and hear how how everything was back then to now. But this other guy from basically that same group is like, hey, I need an announcer. I heard it on your reel. Can you give it to me? It's like, I'm going to give it a shot tonight, and we'll see what happens. So that'll be the first time I go actually back into the booth in like a week and a half.
Nice.
Oh,
Fresh start, new start.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Fresh start, new start. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
I'm actually glad you mentioned that. I totally forgot as well. If you guys remember that history bit that I did, the audition, that was me playing Hitler essentially in a comedic sense.
Yeah.
I know, super weird to say.
Yeah.
The guy who did that reached back out to me and said he's got a new project he wants me to audition for.
Nice.
Hey.
Yeah, so a bit of good news to follow my sadness.
Good news. Huzzah.
So let's get into it. So first off, obviously the topic for this week I think we chose is going to be like getting out of your comfort zone and able to move on. But let's talk about the intro real quick. So again, big thank you to all of us. I saw Orange, you glad you put in. I feel this subject. I've lost count on the number of times I've told myself I'm a no talent hack who should just quit, and that was just today. So we all go through this.
Yeah.
And I even made sure that it wasn't specifically pointed at voiceovers, because sometimes I feel this at work.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I had to think about that for a second, and then I went, oh yeah, every day. It's so frequent. Well, no, because I mean, my day job is I work with children, and every day I go, did I do enough? Have I done enough? Have I helped them to the best of my ability? Some days you think, oh God, because I struggled in school, and so there's times where I'll just be in a class and go, I am 24 and I don't understand what's on the board right now. How am I going to help you? And
And here you are, you have to teach it to people who were not really willing to learn them in the first place.
A little bit, yeah. Having to teach algebra in maths to someone with a 0 attention span. It's like, okay, I signed up for this.
No, as you said, though, it definitely does affect everyone, like, for instance, my girlfriend, she's in social work. She has to deal with crazy parents who don't take very good care of their kids all the time. And
hats off to your girlfriend, my God.
Oh, she's a trooper.
She's an angel.
Enthralled every
She's
time.
a goddamn angel.
I'm super impressed every day by her. But it almost on a daily basis, there's parents that say, "Oh, well, you're not a mother. You'll never know what it's like," or I'm a better mother than you are, or something like that. And like I can only imagine just hearing those words over and over is very debilitating. Like
100%.
I'm sorry, but you're not the greatest parent, obviously, because she has to be involved. So it's, but just hearing that feedback all the time, it gets in your head and it really brings you down. So I'm very proud of her for sticking through it day after day.
100%.
I love you, Megan.
Yeah.
Just throw that in right at the end.
She's probably watching. So.
Oh yeah, I saw her earlier. Hey Meg. But I mean, really, I don't know what else that we can say about this because we actually had a whole episode that talked about this. But it's just, I think very recently, with everything else that was going on, we talked about our negative experience that we got last week, and that hung with me. Actually, from like 2 weeks ago when we first started talking about even the topic, it's just been something that's been like on my back this whole time. So I had to do something. I had to write it out. And again, thanks to Orange You Glad, thanks to Eldurrino, to Pashley, to Renara. Now, hopefully, you guys saying all those things was a little cathartic, and I didn't put you all in a negative space.
It was really strange in the way of I have spent like almost about 2 or 3 years basically training myself out of thinking that way. So having to get back into that headspace of the stuff that now I'm after literally training myself like hours and hours every day, because to get back into that, it was odd because it wasn't that I didn't feel it. It was the thing of, oh God, that was what I was like 24/7 those years ago, and I'm there going, that still affects loads of people to this day, and sort of thing. And I think with me being in education, it's when you're surrounded by children like 14, 15-year-olds daily who believe that in themselves constantly. I'm always there trying to make sure they don't think that way, because when you're in school, it's all you think about, grades are all you think about, and when your performance doesn't seem to like show that, like on a literal level, it's that, oh, maybe I am not good enough, or maybe like, oh, what else? I'm doing all I can, I'm doing my best and stuff, and I'm there going, no, this is good enough. Like getting a B is good enough. If this is the best that you're doing at this point, that's good enough. And you will get better. There is no set time limit on stuff, and people do this, I've noticed, is that people will put a set time on, I need to be this good by this point, otherwise I'm a failure. I need to be able to do this by this point. Or starting straight off the block, they'll go, right, even though I've never done this before, I should be good at it. And I am guilty of this. I will be 100% honest. I am 100% guilty of expecting me to be at least amateur level of something that I've never tried. And when you inevitably slip up or fail or do something wrong or whatever, you then have that weight on yourself going, oh, oh, I failed. When no, you haven't. You've only just started, and failing is how you learn.
Exactly.
So I've spent ages going, it's not failing, it's I didn't get it this time, I will get it next time, or even the next time, or even the next time. Even if you are, because for example, Badger, who was in my intro last time, he recently reached out to me going, oh, I feel like I failed you with some of the Foley, and I really feel bad about it. I understand if you want to replace me, and I'm going, no, wow. Stop. Yeah. Like, no, you are honestly doing a brilliant job. And he then shared with me some things of like, some people had told him that, oh, you're not going anywhere with this, why that you put your energy into something that's going to actually produce results or something. And I'm there going, oh, I feel that, because I got told that so many times when I was trying to learn acting and learn these things, like you'll never get anywhere with this, so why bother? No, you just don't see that. You see a set time period that you're expecting it to be achieved by. When with this sort of production, art in general, voice acting, projects take forever, and voice actors take forever to get off the ground. Do not put yourself in that time bubble. Do not expect yourself, right, by this point I need to be here. By this point, like you said in your intro, getting signed by an agency in a AAA game by the summer, unrealistic goal. So just, if anything, just say, I would like to maybe have done this many auditions this month, because that's something you can control. That is something that you can, on your side of the booth, you can go, I did this, I have achieved, I've done what I've set out to do. It is there, the ball is in their court. And then you manage your time with what comes after that. But those first steps is like, this is what I can control. This is what I'm going to do, sort of thing. So yeah. There is my...
No, 100%.
Oh, wow.
Catching up on chat, Burnham says I get hit with that type of thinking a lot, so that it was relatable. I think the toughest thing is knowing you get better by failing, but feeling like any attempt to get better will also fail because failure. And then why don't you do something more? Crap, I can't read that.
Remunerative.
Thank you. Where's my glasses? Like learn to code. Actually, been told this. I mean, we've all been told something to the effect of what we could use our time probably more constructively than we do.
With the pandemic and everything going on, you've got even the government saying things like, because in Britain at the very least, we had an ad campaign that went out going with a ballerina on the front of it and going, her next job might be in coding, you never know. And then basically advertising that artistic skills are less valued than...
Or an accessory.
Academic. Exactly. And there was such an uproar, at least in England, about it, because it was like it was perpetuating that belief of you shouldn't do art as a career. And it's like, no, it is a valid career. Just at this time period, with everything that's going on, it makes it difficult, but it doesn't stop people. It doesn't stop people from doing stuff. I mean, you can still make a film. You just have your cameraman out doing something somewhere else. You socially distance actors. There are ways about it, but a lot of people seem to have this time-based thing of you need to get it done now, when that's definitely just not, at least in my experience, not true.
Right. Burnham says the real job fallacy. So we've been very vocal about don't quit your day job. Don't put that stress on yourself. Make your living and do this on the side, and then have a plan for it. It's like if you at some point, like my plan is in 8 years I can retire from the county of San Diego and I can just work on this, and I've been very open about this being my plan. Magmorta says having a mindset of I could fail and being okay with that odd thing to say and think.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't let your thoughts dominate you at the same time. So it's kind of a balancing act.
And even if your thoughts are saying bad things or negative things, talk back to yourself in a weird way. If you think something, go, hang on a second, or like just yes, you look crazy, but or the best people do. And I think it's good to exercise challenging them. And I guess in a way, making people say keep yourself informed and be read up to things and stuff. But imagine if someone else was saying that to you, actually face to face, what would you say back?
Yeah,
we would. We'd all like to say we would all like to say that we'd just go, oh, shut up, wrong, no. But sometimes there can be those moments where you just sort of sit quiet and you go, hang on a second, wait. I think in those moments, it's the case of look at the literal physical work that you have done, including what you've done that day, and gone, hang on a second, I've done this. I've also done this. And you'll suddenly start to find that you've got a list of a lot of things that you've done that day, along with a lot of things you've actually achieved, and go, hang on a second, no, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Has anybody seen that video of that? I think he was a Navy SEAL. Something like one of those high level special forces in one of the branches. And he's like, if you want to make a difference in your world, start by making your bed.
Yes, have seen that so many times. Yeah, I do that.
Making my bed is not a regular activity for me, but the philosophy still stands. Like it's kind of the physics of it. You know, you get more motivated the more things you do. Yeah. Positive for yourself, and kind of having a separate, like I've had to learn this, you know, becoming a parent, and you have to have another way to fill your bucket to go, because you have to rely on something. You know what I mean? Like, you know, when you're you don't have as many viewers as you normally have had. If you get a job rejection, you need retreat. People sometimes think that like, oh, just let it brush off, and that's not enough necessarily. You have to like, okay, I'm gonna go play Phasmophobia. I'm gonna go for a bike ride. So that's like hugely important to like have something regular that like some practice that fills your bucket up with joy and, you know,
playing games, writing something, going out for a walk, just those little things that are part of you. and what make you like in your downtime, because downtime is equally important, as I have learned recently.
I think the making your bed thing also relates to starting small. Not just jumping in head first. You don't,
100%.
Say you want to be a runner, you're not going to go start off by running a 5K. You're going to start small and then work your way up, and that applies to pretty much everything. Like you can't run before you can walk, or walk before you can crawl, whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know where I was going with that, but there you go.
And even if you get a stitch after only like half of a lap, you still did half a lap.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, but you eat a whale one bite at a time.
Exactly.
I don't
shove the whole
know
thing in your mouth.
who the hell eats whale.
I've never heard that.
You've never heard that?
No.
Is that what you call
Someone
Brian?
said that to me about a movie.
Oh.
Whoa!
Sorry. I had to.
That was good.
You're welcome. All right. So let's continue. I mean, this was, I think it was very therapeutic for me. So thank you all for indulging me. So let's talk about applying this when it comes to vocal production or and then Pash, don't forget, I'm gonna want you to do a castle in there somewhere. So I'm warning you now before we start talking.
It's a sweet one.
So I mean, for the most part, we're all stuck in our niches. We're not, I won't say stuck with our niches, but we all have our niches we're comfortable with.
Yeah.
So occasionally there may be a part that and I've talked about, maybe villainizing is a lot of fun, but there's those creepy villains that put you in a weird headspace. What are your general practices if you get into that? How do you overcome trying to move yourself out of that area?
I think. Well, Eld, you go first.
I was just going to say, so for me personally, I'm pretty flexible about my roles. I like you said, I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at. But then there's that area in which I'm just like, maybe I could be good. The example I wanted to bring up for this was one of the projects I got cast for that I mentioned last week. He said, I have this other project I want you to do, and here's the roles I'd like you to audition for, just to see if you like them or not, or if you'd be a good fit. And a couple of them, I could see myself into it. It's something that fits my voice very well. But then there was one that was supposed to be kind of an alien type character, which I in like role play and stuff, I do play an alien character. But this one, the description, I'll see if I can find it real quick, but verbatim, it was supposed to be more like flamboyant, very kind of off the wall, kind of, I don't know how to put it, just very
Rumpelstiltskin type.
Kind of, yeah. Hold on, so it says that he's a supernatural humanoid and alien from blah blah blah. He is a flamboyant eccentric who often dresses in a strange mixed match of men and women's clothing with bizarre accessories such as a sombrero hat. He often speaks in an old-fashioned style and is quite fond of quoting classic poetry and other literature. That, like, he asked me to do that character, and I was like, I saw the description, I was like, I don't know what to do here. Like, that's I'm very more I'm better at doing the machismo type voice, the very strong, tough, gritty voices. So, but I gave it a shot. I haven't submitted it yet because I'm not entirely sure if I'm comfortable with it. I'm mostly, but I want to listen over it a bunch. But in any case, it was very strange for me. I am not used to doing that kind of voice, and so getting into the booth to record it, there's a specific character I was thinking of, and I'm struggling now to remember. Okay, I don't remember the character's name, but if anyone watches American Dad, the alien from that show.
Yes.
He has a distinct voice, but it's kind of what I thought of at the time. So I don't know. It doesn't mimic his voice in any way, but that's what I was thinking of at first. How he's kind of just got like he almost has like mood swings in a sense where sometimes he's really loud, sometimes he's really quiet. And so I kind of
Gorath from Elder Scrolls a little bit. The Daedric Lord Shea Gorath, who literally is the god of mania, like basically mood swings. He can be very like, hey, at the start, and then he can go super serious, like at a drop of a hat sort of thing. He's supposed to embody chaos, and it sounded similar, kind of in a weird way.
By the way, apparently Roger is the name according to chat. So
Roger, yes, thank you.
I don't know.
So it's an American show, as the title would describe it as. But in any case, so I thought of Roger and how like kind of zany he is, and then I tried to think of like how how William Shakespeare poetry would be performed or played or whatever. And I don't have the recordings exported right now, but I can just find. I don't want to read too much of the script here because I don't know if they want me to or not.
Right.
But
Not
I can kind of give you an idea of like, so like the first line says, "I have traveled stars beyond dreams. Your eyes make me quiver still." You know, just kind of
great.
Different tone of voice all over the place. I pushed my voice up to be a bit more eccentric, I guess, or flamboyant, as well as just making the tone go all over the place. You know, something very off the wall and not human-like at all. So yeah, like I said though, it was very, very different for me. Something I was not used to at all. So I really had to kind of sit there and think about it. As far as what I did to kind of push myself out of that, out of my comfort zone, is I just gave it a shot. You know, I over the years when it comes to performance or creation of art, overall, I've made music, I've made movies, I've made, you know, sound clips, etc. I'm very good about determining what I enjoy and what I don't, like on the drop of a dime. So I will record something and I'll listen back to it and I can immediately tell if I don't like it or not. And I did that with the anime dubs that I had to re-record. So I would record something, determine if I like it or not, and then once I got that down, then I would record the rest of it and whatnot. So, but to solidify it, I also like to sit there and focus on it for a while, determine if it's actually good or worthy, I guess. But moral of the story is, the best advice I can give to step outside your comfort zone: don't think about whether you're going to be good or not. Just give it a shot and see what happens, because you're not going to know unless you try. The end.
Let's see if this works.
So, do you like music?
Do I like music?
There's that voice.
No, I'm the one person on Earth who doesn't like music.
Why did you answer my ad online if you were just gonna ignore me?
My profile has 4 pictures of me staring out of a restaurant window through binoculars. You knew what this was.
That's Roger the Alien, by the way.
He sounds great.
So
I need to watch this now.
And it's funny that you mentioned dubbing, because I think the most uncomfortable experience I've had recording something is doing the dubbing itself, only because you're limited as to the vocal flaps, the amount of time that you have, and then you're trying to keep with the pace of the character that's already on there. And you had the military guy, and I'm, you know, you mentioned you've got a very short amount of time to say a large amount of words, and
and not all languages are set up the same. Like, it's not a clear translation, especially between Japanese and English. You know, if we're gonna talk, like, they're completely different languages. So, and then things might not line up with the facial expressions, and that's like getting into a whole nother layer of complication. But still, it's not easy.
Well, the one line. Actually, I could probably send it over to you. Or
like send it over. I'd love to hear
it. It's in Wave, but
that's fine. I can. If you can drop it in
so like the last bit of line that I had was, it was 15 seconds that I had to record it, and it was basically back to back, which is fine. But it's a good probably like 50 words or so. And like the translations, as Pashley said, are different, you know, like something in Japanese that might be 5 to 7 syllables can be 15 to 20 in English, you know. Like I remember one line I struggled with was preparations for the formation of the birdcage are complete. I had to do that in a second and a half. So I just basically just had to speed right through it, you know, and it's very, very difficult. So yeah, the dubbing over this past week was definitely a struggle for me, because like some of it was really easy. I didn't have any problems matching up the words to the
vocal
mouth
flaps.
But some of them were just super intense, and I basically just had to like, I don't know, kind of like shake it off, jump up and down, get a lot of energy going, and then just go at it. My girlfriend was even saying it because like I was practicing trying to get the speed right, and so I'm sitting here like I'm sitting here in the booth, you know, saying like we've detected another blah 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 blah, and I just kept repeating it. So like we detected.
God, rapping.
She was like, are you having a seizure in there or something? So yeah, so it's,
don't they normally I mean, my very limited knowledge of dubbing and is that I swear for at least English versions they do change the animation slightly in order to be able to compensate for some of the longer words. Like it's minor changes, but I swear they do that. Like at the very least went in the professional dubbing and everything like that. I
don't know.
I swear they do.
They might shave off certain frames of the animation, but I know that when it comes to translating, they may not necessarily do the same like a one-for-one translation. They will translate it to something that's close enough to get the point across, while still matching, you know, the actual flaps of the mouth.
Yeah.
And I can tell you in this particular project that he does take a bit of liberty when it comes to the translation, but he still keeps the general idea of what's going on. So that is a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've loaded this up. Let's take a quick listen.
We've detected another magnetic field disturbance centered around North 35, East 139. We've also detected readings at Hamarikyu Tokyo Station and Gaian. Although the disturbances are still small, we've detected disturbances in multiple locations. They're increasing.
Make his
Holy
breath.
crap.
Yeah.
You are on the verge of spitting a rap there.
I spent a good like 20 minutes just trying to get that one take. It was not fun.
Well, you've got a lot of right next to each other. So,
yeah. You say detected like 4 times. In
it's time to
do. Yeah. It was insane.
But I mean, even when it comes to, I mean, there's some liberties that happen, thankfully, when the mouth isn't in focus, and that gives you a little more room to play with when it comes to that. But I mean, in general, it's an art form, and big respect to the people that do this for a living, because I mean, it was a lot of work to get these going, and now Eldurrino's had that experience too, and we'll see what happens in the future. So yeah. Anybody else have one that you had to get yourself out of your comfort zone for?
I mean, the only one I could like, because the only thing I know that I struggle with is accent work. I know I've always struggled with that. So I try to, at the very least, do my research and try to I utilize like the there was a link you sent, Pashley, of not only does it show, well, it was either the link you sent me, or I found something where it shows the literal how your mouth is positioned for certain
It's
sounds.
probably the IPA stuff.
Yeah, and so I'm like, okay, so I need to do German, or I purposely try to branch my work out with that, because Fire, one of my friends, he's very, very good at accent work. He can just flip between accents, so I ask him for help. But that's to get into the headspace of those sorts of things. At the very least, when I first started out, I was like, right, for voice acting, you need to know how to do an American accent and an English accent, because those are the ones that they predominantly want. So I don't know if I've talked about it or any, but what I do to try and at the very least get a base line for a language is I will find a character in a video game or some form of video game that has the desired accent that I'm looking for. I will then basically listen to that on repeat and try to emulate certain words. I try to make sure that there are like at the very least a word each with all of the different vowel sounds, so I know how those sound, so then I can sort of mix it together and then try and apply it to whatever I'm reading for. I'm very academic, ironically enough, when it comes to trying to get myself out of that sort of zone. I like to do research on stuff. I like to have examples. I like to, if I'm doing a character who per se is, for example, the one that I was going to play in the previous thing that I mentioned last week, but then went out of. I don't know whether the uncomfortableness was due to the experience or whether it was actually the character. I'm not quite sure. All I know is that I ended up sort of going, right, I need examples of a character that is similar to this character so I can get in the headspace of that. And so I thought of Winter Schnee, like very militant woman who is also not not abashedly ashamed to say her mind. So I often try to at least find parallels in certain areas to get out of that headspace of, oh, I can't do it. No. I'm like, no, okay. At the very least, I can find examples. I can try and emulate what these guys are doing, and then put a spin on it myself. And I that's how I get out of the headspace of, oh, I can't do it. Is no, I just have either A, never tried it, or B, haven't done it in so long that I've forgotten how to do it. So it's the case of, I don't know, push yourself with bit by bit and don't take on too much is probably what I can say on that front. If they've offered you several roles of several things that you're not, if you audition for something and you've just sort of thrown it out there as I've tried, and then they cast you for several things that you've gone, oh, I tried, I'm not entirely sure I'm okay with this at the moment. It's like, maybe just say, right, I'd like to do just one of those characters and do them as best, like put all my energy into that rather than doing several. Obviously, best case scenario.
Right.
Here, it's hard because I've not really had I don't know.
No, you're fine. I've talked about this before. For the most part, I don't really do accent work because I feel like I'm terrible. I can't even do a Hispanic accent, and I'm Hispanic. My Hispanic sounds Irish.
Oh boy!
No,
get Grimm on that,
that's not going to happen. But
that's a jump. That's a fucking jump.
Good lord.
And I for some reason, that would definitely be something I would completely put myself out of the comfort zone. Pashley has put the link in the chat to that particular website, and there it is again.
Yep.
The International Phonetic Alphabet. I'll put it in the podcast description as well as in the YouTube description. So,
yes.
Very cool. Pash, do you have one, or I know you just experienced one like in your last job too.
Oh yeah. Well, I think a general rule that I follow, if I'm doing something new and I'm doing something that's outside of my skill set, I guess I'll say, because I am a big believer in toolboxes and you're constantly adding tools and paint colors, et cetera, et cetera. I will usually consult someone who's doing it, regularly, doing it better. Or you just listen to the people who speak with a German accent, all sorts of things. I mean, some things are just going to be woefully outside of my wheelhouse, like singing Queen of the Night in Mozart's Die Zauberflöte will never be something I do, right?
That's my favorite song.
Yeah, I think I just saw Ren fanboy a little bit when you said it.
But there's only, it's such a rare voice type and it's so difficult to sing. So temper your expectations, obviously. Yeah. But have a team of people who can speak with you honestly, and be clinical. I think clinical feedback is so important to growth, because if someone's just saying you suck or whatever, you're not, it's so abstract, and even abstract praise is bad for you.
Exactly.
You know
what I was about to say, yes.
Yeah, so that was what I would suggest. But I could speak a little more on the International Phonetic Alphabet. It's like it's widely taught.
Castle.
Here you go.
There we go. Yeah.
PrincessPashley Castle is the sweet one.
There we go. Love it.
But learning the mechanics, looking at charts of like tongue positions, not to the point where you're like getting manic about it. Like my ah is not and my e is not. But getting like an idea of where the tongue belongs. This is kind of like a bunny hop off of last week.
Mm-hmm.
It can be very, very helpful. The tongue is so bossy with your larynx, but it's also an incredible articulator. So it will, I think clarity in voice acting is paramount. And if your E's sound a little weird, I think you got to start there and then move into your characterizations. Do you guys agree? Like we want to make sure we're delivering the lines clearly, and then where you can keep clarity and when you do an orc voice or a princess voice. So yeah, that's my voice teacher does that all the time. And you need to be doing that work like kind of out of the booth every day. You should have like a regular routine of, this is where my breathing is. This is where my tongue needs to be. And what my voice teacher makes me do is like sing it on a pitch, like I'm like obviously very froggy right now, but she makes me do this like every single lesson. And she's like, you gotta do this every day, because unlike flautists and violinists, like our voices are so attached to our bodies. And like for me, like I throw my back out, I can't practice all week, because it's just gonna tangle up everything else with my body. So giggity, giggity, giggity. Anyway.
Well, to sort of tack on to that, because I don't think I've not consciously registered it until now. Now you've talked about that. I mean, on the way to work and back, I sing in the car. I to warm up my voice, not only to go into talking all day, but then coming back, sort of singing certain songs that are both comfortable and slightly stretch my voice a little bit to put me into that sort of area of I've warmed up my voice, I've utilized the muscles in my face, ready to go into the booth of I can now do this. If it's been a very stressful day, I put on a specific CD and I go, I'm going to try these songs or whatever and stuff like that. So maybe that might be a good way for at least people to utilize that outside, like out in the world. I don't know, giving real world parallels of what people could do.
Well, it's funny because I'm a car karaoke guy. I saw Eldurrino nod too. I'm sure Pashley, if you had a commute, you would be.
I'm about to have a commute, so.
Heyo.
Someday we all need to I'm sorry I didn't appear in whilst Twitch Sings was around, but I mean it'd be kind of cool to see everyone sing.
Oh, well, maybe future intros.
Videos.
There is videos.
There's we have that we downloaded before.
You said
Twitch
intro, I
stole
now
them
have an
away.
idea. You said intro, I now have an idea.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so for the most part, I think everybody is chimed in on this particular one, so we will leave the topic as it is. And I think we are good enough for us to be able to start doing that as a little bit more of a wrap up. So, I mean, what can you say when it comes to a topic as heavy as this? I mean, it's just make sure that you have a good support group around you. Make sure that you get. It's okay to get out of your comfort zone. It's okay to fail. Don't be so hard on yourself when it comes to this stuff. Yeah.
And don't be afraid to challenge those thoughts in your head.
Right.
Challenge them and go, is this right? Are you what you're saying, is it true? And get into that regular habit of saying, like, even the smallest things count as a victory. Even the smallest things, like, even if it is just getting out of bed in the morning, like, it can literally be something as small as that, and they will build up and you will see, hey, I'm not a failure. I'm doing this every day. Like, and you can, just keep what I always say is one step in front of the other. Or as long as you have kept putting one step in front of the other, you have not failed.
Absolutely.
Sort of thing, because it's only when you stop at least it was what my film teacher taught me, is if you stop, that's when technically apparently you failed. If you keep doing one thing every day, one step in front of the other, you have not failed. And I take that with me every day.
Yep. It's okay to fall as long as you pick yourself back up.
Exactly.
It's a great frame of mind to be in. So and again, it's not subjective to just voice acting. It's just in general. I think in life, you just keep that focus and it helps you out.
Even if you do one audition, you've done it. If you made a meal today, you've done it. If you have recorded one line, if you've only had enough time to record one line, you've done it.
Ashley.
That's 1%.
All right, next week, who's doing the intro?
I think it's me.
I think it's you. Are we gonna see part 3 of the epic tale, or
You're getting part 3 of the epic finale of like season 1 of Cold Read.
Wow. My part 3 isn't planned until November, I think.
All right.
I'll be wrapping it up, and then what I will be doing is I will be sewing all of my intros together and releasing them on my YouTube channel as chapter 1 of the Cold Read saga. So
nice.
That is the plan.
If you have a topic or just something you want us to listen to, email us coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com. If you have an idea for anything, just go ahead and email us. If you have a question, we will send it to the right people. Until then, keep those auditions going, please.
Yep.
Don't keep hitting record. Don't be afraid to fail. You all have a great day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.